A Caterpillar's Story by Trayvon Patton. Once upon a time, the bright, shiny and spiny caterpillar graduates of Maplewood assembled at Leaf Prep Academy for their commencement service. Speaking to the eager graduates was Buzz Butterfly, a local high-flyer recognized by Creation magazine 3 times in a row. "You've got to eat," Buzz shouted. "Eat everything you can crawl on." "Even ants?" a little caterpillar asked. "No, don't eat ants," Buzz replied. "Eat green stuff, healthy stuff. You've got to grow because then something special happens." "You go to college," a caterpillar answered. "Close," Buzz chuckled. "You never come back." "What?" "You get eaten," said a little caterpillar, hiding behind a leaf. "Thank you for all of your helpful responses," Buzz laughed nervously. "Okay, when you eat, you grow. When you grow enough, you go to the cocoon." All the little caterpillars gasped in awe. "Cocoon? What's a cocoon?" a little caterpillar asked. "Well, it's a thing that covers you up and you stay in it for a while." "Is it dark?" "Yes, very dark," Buzz replied. "And you can't move?" "Yes, you are stuck for a bit." "So no eating leaves?" "No, not really." "Does someone free you from the cocoon?" "No, you've got to fight your way out of there." "What happens to your spines?" "Well," Buzz replied, "you wiggle around until your head splits wide open. Then once you molt safely into your shiny chrysalis or cocoon, you turn into soup, spines included. Any more questions?" The silence of the room was broken by a prickly blue caterpillar who suddenly fell limp off his leaf. The room erupted into chaos. The frightened caterpillars wriggled around nervously at the thought of becoming butterflies. "We don't want to go to the cocoon," they cried. "Why not?" Buzz asked. "Don't you want to be butterflies?" "Yes." "But you don't want the cocoon?" "No." Buzz scratched his head and smiled. "I know you are afraid because the cocoon sounds pretty scary, but you won't realize your full potential without getting in there." "Why can't we stay caterpillars?" a caterpillar sighed. "You can, but you won't get far," Buzz replied. "You'll eat, but you won't fly." The room buzzed once again as the young caterpillars argued among one another. "This guy is crazy," one caterpillar whispered. "But he can fly," another replied. "But you've got to be soup first to fly. Do you want to be soup?" "I like soup," another caterpillar cheerfully exclaimed. "It's like being born all over again." A speckled caterpillar sighed. "I don't think I can do another day of preschool." Buzz looked at the concerned caterpillar faces. He had to think of something fast, or the entire graduating class would stay on the ground. Buzz suddenly took flight above the awestruck caterpillars, weaving and looping in the air. "Wow!" the audience gasped. "Graduates, you weren't made to stay crawlers," Buzz shouted. "I can't imagine falling off a leaf today. Can't happen. Why? Because I'm a butterfly. We don't fall unless we're dead." "I heard that," the prickly blue caterpillar that fell earlier shouted from below. "You don't have to fear the unknown, graduates of Maplewood Prep Academy. I turned out okay, and so will you." A hairy orange caterpillar raised his hand. "Why does it have to be dark in the cocoon?" Buzz smiled. "When you turn into a butterfly, you are defenseless, so the cocoon covers you completely to keep you from being eaten." "Like a beautiful castle." "Yes, a really small one," Buzz laughed. "And we don't eat?" "I promise you won't need to," Buzz replied. "That is why you are eating now, graduates. One day the food in your body will help you to transform into a beautiful butterfly." "What about turning into soup?" "The soup makes butterflies," Buzz replied. "What are you trying to hold on to, graduates? Right now you are just tummies on legs. You are not a butterfly. You are babies. But babies can't stay babies. You have to grow up." "But growing up is hard," a little caterpillar exclaimed. "Growing up may seem hard at the time," Buzz replied. "But it is worth making it to the end of that process. These wings came from that process. I can fly anywhere I want. I drink from the best flowers in the morning. I fly to work every day, preparing Maplewood's apple harvest." "Yum, I love apples," A green caterpillar grinned. I help to make things grow, Buzz smiled, and it never would have happened if I didn't grow up and go through the process. The graduates debated among themselves as Buzz gracefully flapped his beautiful wings until he descended onto the stage. So why do we have to fight our way out of the cocoon? Trust me, fighting is important, Buzz replied. With newly created wings and arms, your butterfly body needs training. If you can't fight your way out the cocoon, you won't be strong enough to fly or even stand on a flower. The graduates shook their heads in approval. Graduates, growing up is not just about what you know, but about what you become. You have to become butterflies to grow up, and growing up means going through the process. Grow up, the young graduates chanted as they gave a standing ovation. Exactly, Buzz gave a sigh of relief. We have to grow up. Be the butterfly, the young caterpillars exclaimed. Yes, be the butterfly, Buzz chuckled. Trust the cocoon, the blue prickly caterpillar exclaimed. Exactly, Buzz pointed in agreement. At the end of every cocoon lies your greatest potential. To the cocoon, the crowd cheered. I think you are all ready for the big world, Buzz said proudly. Graduates, let us turn our tassels from the right side to the left to mark our transition from crawling on the earth to flying high into the sky. With that, the young caterpillar graduates turned their tassels before throwing their caps into the air, confidently awaiting the day they would take flight over the flowery fields of Maplewood and beyond. What if God's plan for your life required you to take flight to see your full potential? Are you willing to become what He intended you to be, even if it's new, unusual, or a little bit scary? As new Christians, sometimes we can be caterpillars, eating as much of God's Word as we can manage. But there comes a time that we have to graduate into butterflies, a creation that not only consumes God's Word, but partners with the Father by doing God's Word. Butterflies are God's wonderful helpers. They are really special because they help trees to grow lots of fruits. With wings, butterflies can do this quickly, helping more trees to bear fruit. Fruit contains seeds that create more trees. Trees give us food to eat and air to breathe. Who knew how big God's plan was for the little caterpillar? Yet His plan is not complete until the little caterpillar becomes a beautiful butterfly. Here are some scriptures that can help. Romans 12:2. Do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewal of your mind, that by testing you may discern what is the will of God, what is good and acceptable and perfect. 2 Peter 1:3-4. His divine power has granted to us all things that pertain to life and godliness, through the knowledge of Him who called us to His own glory and excellence, by which He has granted to us His precious and very great promises, so that through them you may become partakers of the divine nature, having escaped from the corruption that is in the world because of sinful desire. If you enjoyed this story, please share it with someone else, and do remember to like and subscribe. This will assist us in getting more of these stories around the world.